is the main event.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the main event, Mark's Podcast. Happy 2021. I am your first host of the podcast, lifelong wrestling fan, former radio guy, and figure collector, Troy. And with me, as always, is the main event collector and the WWE Walking Wrestling Encyclopedia. He is the Jacques de Raymond. He is the All-American Greg. What's up, Greg?
What up?
I told you I'd make the reference, so
Yeah.
I was if that wasn't burying us enough, I was considering really going. I was going to say you were the genius to my Randy Savage,
Hey, that man had some epic poetry.
the poet laureate of the World Wrestling Federation. Why has nobody tried to claim that title after he left? I don't get it.
He just perfected it too much.
Yeah, I mean, you can't get better than Leapin' Lanny Poffo. He set the bar, and nobody can leap over it. See what I did there? But jumping jokes. All right, man. Well, we are officially moving on into the year 2021, and we're thinking good thoughts here. So we're starting off with something from your childhood, something from about 9 months before I was born. We are going with the Royal Rumble 1990. I had personally never seen this show, so that's actually what I'm trying to do in our future episodes, is kind of load up a lot of stuff that I've never seen before. Some of it is a rewatch, but I'm pretty sure literally everything we have on the schedule is a rewatch for you. Am I right?
Yep.
You've been more dedicated to wrestling much longer than I have been, so
Still am.
yeah, that is true. I still go back and enjoy the classics and all that. So this was definitely a classic, and it was a nice look back into the golden era of the WWE. I know you said there were a few moments on the show that hit you right in the feels and still get you excited to this day.
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Especially that very end.
yeah,
We'll
right.
get to it.
Yeah. we definitely will. But yeah, there's a lot to talk about with the news and notes. So let's just get right into it right here after our first break. Follow the Main Event Marks at facebook.com/Main Event Marks Pod, on Twitter at Main Event _Marks, and on Instagram at Main Event _Marks and at Main Event Collector. The Main Event Marks are available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. Now back to the show. Okay, news and notes from back in January of 1990. For new listeners, this is what we do at the beginning of every show, and we thank you for joining us in the new year, giving something new a try. We hope you stick around. But before we get into the review of the show that we're actually talking about, we always talk about the news and notes from that time period, kind of the big stuff that's going on. The first one here is New Jersey voted 44-4 to deregulate pro wrestling, although the bill has been passed up to the governor for signing, and it might actually die there. I think it did get vetoed. What was that? There was a WrestleMania that was held there, wasn't it? Or some big event.
In
And
Jersey?
Yeah. All right.
WrestleMania 4 and 5.
Okay. There was some big event I remember because they signed something into law to basically deregulate pro wrestling, and like the Undertaker was there to
That was 97.
97?
SummerSlam.
Okay. That was it. SummerSlam, yeah. So it would take 7.5 more years after this to deregulate.
Oh, no. We can't go to Jersey and smell like ass. Oh, great.
I remember you telling me that because I've never been to New Jersey.
You don't want to be.
And I remember you telling me how much you loved New York, and then you're like, and as soon as we crossed back over to the Jersey, over the Jersey state line, it was just like a wall of stench. you run into.
You have to like go do it yourself to really understand. It was that bad. Like,
well, if you want,
it just smelled like horse manure everywhere. And I'm being very, very kind when I say that.
Well, if you want to be taken back into that mindset, Greg, if you ever come out here and visit, there's a place near, Dayton, named Moraine.
So Dayton.
Yeah. It's named Moraine, and when you go through it, you know you're going through it because it smells like you're traveling through sewer. Yeah. It was really sad because I guess my wife said she lived there for a short time when she was a kid, and they always knew. They were like, we're home, it stinks.
I say the same thing, but not for the actual smell. Anyways.
What the hell? In a sad note, legendary football player and former NWA World Champion Bronco Nagurski died. Did you know anything about him?
Just I was the NWA champion.
Yeah. Well, I know you're a big football guy, so I didn't know if you knew anything. This was obviously way before your time when he played. Apparently he was a big deal, so JR talks fondly about him, so yeah, there you go.
Was he a Sooner?
I don't think so. But here we go, man. Jerry Jarrett has a plan for a follow-up pay-per-view to Super Clash 3, but without the AWA, and doing a tractor pull as an attraction instead.
Oh my god, how white can you get?
Tractor pull white, I guess. That's the bar.
I'm not even that white.
I remember talking to a guy, and he just came back from the county fair, and I was like, "Oh, how was it?" He was like, "Oh, it was cool. Yeah, we went and saw the tractor pull." And I'm like, "Oh." And then somebody else that was in the room, he was like, "What's a tractor pull?" And he's like, "You've never been to a tractor pull?" And he's like, "Yeah, that's why I don't know what it is. What's a tractor pull?"
Exactly what I just said, word for word.
You tie a tractor with a rope to something else, and it pulls it. And there you go, tractor pull.
Good lord. People are some weird stuff, man.
I like how, by the way, he's like, well, we can't get the AWA, huh? Well, so we're gonna have a tractor pull, huh?
Does he say, well, you know that much?
He probably said it just like that. He doesn't say it quite that much, but if anybody listens to his shoot interviews, he does. I had to burst out laughing every time he dropped it, because every once in a while he'd break it. He's like, well, and I'm like, holy crap, he says it. But yeah,
it's not just to sell Bruce's podcast,
right? So if anybody goes back, our bonus show last month was Super Clash 3, so you can listen to the abysmal, the amazing success that pay-per-view was, and then think about a follow-up to that, which
TJ's bar for success is obviously low.
Oh, wow, high school flashback. Anyway, but yeah, so they did do a follow-up with Super Clash 4 in the spring, and I've never watched it. I don't want to. So, but speaking of the AWA. New AWA figurehead Joe Blanchard, father of Tully, is doing a deal where moves off the top rope are banned. So the Destruction Crew did 3 matches on the January 13th tapings, where they did the Doomsday Device 3 times and were disqualified 3 times.
That sounds like some Russo crap.
That sounds like Bill Watts. Didn't he ban top rope moves?
He did, and banned going over the top rope, I believe.
Yeah, no going over the top rope, no coming off the top rope, and no pads to the outside, because they were for weak women. I mean, I'm assuming that's how he put it, because he was not a good person.
He's still alive, right?
Yeah, so he's still not a good person.
Okay, I mean, he wasn't, yeah.
Yeah.
He changed his life now.
Well, he wasn't a good person. Now all of a sudden he's in his 80s. He's turned over a new leaf, I guess.
That's about when you start making your peace with God, I think.
You'd like to hope. Sid Vicious is scheduled to return.
We're going to hell.
Right. Sid Vicious is scheduled to return from his lung injury in June, but that's when his contract expires, and current thinking is that he'll be gone and headed for Titan, aka WWF. So no one's making any firm plans for him. Did he go in 1990?
Okay, eventually. He goes in summer of 1991.
Okay, yeah, I was going to say he must have signed another extension here, or maybe they. I've heard of ones where like guys will return from contract and whoever's in charge of the contracts will get pissy and be like, "Well, since you were out so long, you have to, stay longer on your contract because of it to fulfill it."
Well, that's how it should work.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying you shouldn't. I mean, unless you're getting like paid and it's stipulated in the contract, then yeah. I mean, if you're not working, but you signed a contract for that amount of time, then yeah.
I was just thinking, back in the 90s, you might not even get this reference, but man, Sid was like Kirk Cousins, man. People
I know
keep giving that man a job. He is not good, and yet he keeps getting paid. I don't know why. I mean, I think he has like pictures of every owner on his phone.
Okay, it wasn't Kirk Cousins the guy who... Wasn't Kirk Cousins the "you like that" guy?
I don't remember.
That's all I remember about him was where like after a game, like he was with the Redskins and they win a game and he's like walking by all the media and he's just like, "You like that? You like that?" And they made a meme out of it.
If that's true, that's probably why he's getting the damn contracts, because he can get people to watch or something. I don't know.
They're like, "Hey, that's the "you like that" guy."
Who keeps signing this guy? Why do you keep giving him a job? I'm not like sitting here wishing for anyone to be out of job, by the way. It's just like, this is your starting quarterback. By choice.
Well, I mean, we could say that about Sid, but I mean, you and I were talking about, what was the one show we reviewed with the skyscrapers where everybody in the crowd had an effing Sid sign?
I think that was a Clash of the Champions.
I know it was...
they were going crazy for him, too. Every
was
time
it
he
89?
got in, I think so. Every time Spivey was in the ring, it was like, oh, whatever. And he got in, and it just blew the roof off.
And they were huge heels, by the way. And he's, like, not good, like you said. And the crowd just effing loved him. So you're talking about, how does he keep getting a job? It's like...
Well, him I know. He always had that it factor. I mean...
Yeah,
it's just a comparison. It's like, man, don't worry, someone's going to give him a job.
Which leads me to believe he could have very well been the next Hulk Hogan, like Vince wanted for him, which just is so incredibly stupid that he said, "Nah, I'd rather be a heel." Like, I don't know. I guess
when you think about it, Hogan makes too much money. I don't want all that.
My thing was maybe he knew his ceiling for work ethic, and he was like, "I see all the stuff Hogan does. I'm good. I want to go play softball."
So no one ever.
Well, I could make an Arkansas joke, but I don't want to turn off more listeners. I mean, we just did crap on New Jersey, so here you go, man. Here are the funny ones. Here are the funny stories I had to put down. Reportedly, World Boxing Champion Mike Tyson has signed with the WWF to referee a match for the WWF. Mike Tyson made the announcement from a press conference in Japan, where he's prepping to fight at the Tokyo Dome in a couple of weeks against some guy nobody's ever heard of.
So it was a 7-star fight then, right?
Well, of course. However, what is important is that Tyson is going to make a ton of money to referee the Hogan vs. Savage match on the main event, which opens up speculation that Hogan wants Tyson at WrestleMania VI. Sure. The buy rate for that would be astronomical, just as long as nothing happens to Tyson between now and the main event. But what are the odds of that? For those that don't get the joke, he got knocked out by Buster Douglas.
Buster Douglas did replace him as the ref, and nobody cared.
Yep. Who cares, bro? I think they should have just stuck with Tyson. I mean, I get what they were doing, but like, I still think Tyson would have been the much bigger like attraction there. But it's kind of like this article made reference. They were like, what were the odds of this happening? Nobody's ever heard of Buster Douglas. That's like, I mean, that's like betting against Ronda Rousey against Holly Holm. I mean, come the hell on.
That's true. That was astronomical.
Yeah.
Although, not to be that guy, but I saw that coming. But
the WWF is actually playing coy with the NBC promotion locally in Detroit, basically doing a press conference in the city while avoiding all mention of the show being a live NBC special until the show sells out, which it has not done. Vince ducked all questions related to the network aspect of it. However, once the Tyson thing comes out, it's a guaranteed sellout, just as long as nothing happens to Tyson.
don't worry, I will.
Yeah, it's money in the bank, man. Come on. I like Bruce Pritchard's thing of it, where he said he was like on a plane. When he lands, he gets a phone call from Kevin Dunn. He's like, he got knocked out. He's like, who got knocked out? He said, Tyson. Like, by who? Buster Douglas. Who the hell is Buster Douglas?
The guy who knocked out Tyson?
Yeah. It's like, we can do this all day. The timing of this, by the way, kind of screws the NWA because they had their Wrestle War pay-per-view 2 days later with the big Flair versus Sting match on top. Well, as long as nothing happens to Sting before that match, I think that'll be fine, because what are the odds of that? This was just, my gosh.
Man, wrestling gods are mad, man.
Yeah, we're like, screw you both. You're both getting screwed here. So, they're building up for Flair and Sting. Flair's going to drop the title to Sting, and then he gets yanked off of a cage by security, by the way, and Sting just tears his knee out. Good stuff, pal. But, he would get his title win at the Great American Bash, so whatever. Alright, last story we got here. Despite insisting for months that Barry Windham was coming back, the WWF has now acknowledged he's done. So
I forgot he was there the second time.
Yeah, this was, number 2 of 4 times he popped up?
Yep.
Yeah. And next time we'd see him, he'd be the Stalker.
Yeah, that was a glorious one.
Well, yeah, I mean, you joke, but who didn't want a Stalker t-shirt back in the day?
His t-shirt is literally the WWF logo at Survivor Series 96.
I know. I was like, you literally, he Tommy Dreamered it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I put them in the same wheelhouse.
Oh yeah, Barry Windham, Tommy Dreamer, same. They're interchangeable. All right, man, we're going to take our next break. When we come back from commercials, we are jumping into WWF Royal Rumble 1990. Follow the Main Event Marks at Facebook.com/Main Event Marks Pod, on Twitter at Main Event _Marks, and on Instagram at Main Event _Marks and at Main Event Collector. The Main Event Marks are available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. Now back to the show. All right, we're back for the Royal Rumble 1990. This took place on January 21st, 1990. The tagline, every man for himself. The venue was the Orlando Arena. Guess where that is, Greg?
I believe it's in, Davenport, Iowa. Seth Rollins was in attendance.
Most likely. The Orlando Arena in Orlando, Florida, obviously. The attendance was a sellout of 16,000. So obviously it wasn't that big of an arena.
This is not the Amway Center, by the way, which I've been to and is amazing venue.
I've never been to an arena in Orlando. That's a bucket list item. Because I've heard the shows down there, whenever, you could see it on TV, whenever WWE goes to Orlando, it's usually a pretty hot crowd. Pay-per-view buy rate for this, they had 260,000 buys. Compare that, by the way, to the show we reviewed last week, Starrcade 2000, which had 50,000 1,000 buys.
That was only because people knew it was the last one, probably.
Yeah. It's like when you and I tuned into Bound for Glory that one year because we thought it might be the last TNA show ever. You remember doing that?
I do.
And we regretted it. We were like, it's not even the last one. But Vince McMahon opens the show with his over-the-top voiceover over the opening video, hyping us up. I miss this, man. Like, this was always the opening to the Royal Rumble for... How many years did he do this?
I feel like 1992 was the last one.
Yeah, kind of sucks. I mean, I get that they did more, they started working in more, like, surprise entrants, so you can't really sit there and name everybody. But, yeah, I don't know. That was always cool. He would just, like, run down all the names you can expect to see. I said it's still crazy to me to hear Tony Schiavone commentating a WWE event. It did feel weird. But I liked it. Yeah, but when I grew up in wrestling, it was always, Tony Schiavone was the WCW guy, and now it's like, going back to this old stuff, I was like, man. And he's side by side with Jesse Ventura, which gives me flashbacks to old WCW shows.
I think they're literally both about to be calling a WCW show less than a year from this point.
Yeah, Halloween Havoc 1990 they called together, so... That's so strange. They're on the call for Royal Rumble 1990, and then, 10 months later, they'd be in WCW at Halloween Havoc. Oddly enough, dressed even dumber than they're dressed here.
Yeah. That guy, he kept making Mickey Mouse references all night.
Yeah. He was in a Mickey Mouse sweatshirt. I feel like he had, the ears or the hat or something on. Then he tried giving a Goofy hat to Tony, and Tony kind of looked it over. He's like, I'll put it on later. And he just, drops it.
Well, let's not overlook Tony Schiavone's suit that made like he was going to go do magic.
Yeah, right. Oh, my gosh. And watch my career disappear. Too soon? All right, anyway.
No, he's actually on TV again, so no, it's not too soon. It's fine.
Yeah. I always he was like, I spent one night in TNA and I left the business for 12 years. But we get the
I'm going to leave that obvious joke alone. It's not like his current company's doing any better. Anyways, go on.
Good lord. We get the Rougeau brothers with Jimmy Hart. They're taking on the Bushwhackers. Yay. This went for 13 and a half minutes. I texted you.
Why do you say it sarcastically, man?
I texted you, I said, turns on Royal Rumble 1990, Bushwhackers are in the opening match, turns off Royal Rumble 1990.
I highly disagree with that.
I've never, even as a kid, I didn't like the Bushwhackers. And now, I won't even shake their hands, because of what you saw down in New Orleans. So.
God, yeah. I have nightmares of that still.
I wouldn't even... see, without a pandemic, I wouldn't shake their hands. But the crowd goes nuts for the Bushwhackers, while I facepalmed and prepared for crap. Ramon still looks the same, but to me, Jacques kind of looked like a middle-aged divorced dad who smells like Jack Daniels and only sees his kids every other weekend.
Good God.
And he brags at the bar that in 1966 he scored 4 touchdowns in a single game while playing for his high school in the city championship game versus...
I'm not going to acknowledge that because you're tying in epicness with crap. So no, I'm not going to even acknowledge that. Nope.
Well, what do you mean crap? He scored the game-winning touchdown in the final seconds against his old nemesis, Bubba Spare Tire Dixon. All right.
He plays hockey, so no.
Now, you can go with that old, obviously, because he's... No, because he's an all-American boy. All right? So, no, he doesn't play hockey. He plays football like an all-American boy.
Yeah, I got you queued up.
For God's sake. Can we not? Let's just...
That is an epic theme.
See, I thought you were going to break out laughing about the Married with Children reference.
No.
Good Lord. I don't even watch that show.
Not when tied in with this.
I didn't even watch that show, but I typed that in special for you.
With the crap on the show. Could have been something way better.
How dare you say that about Jacques and Ramon Rougeau? Anyway, the Bushwhackers...
Compare the great Al Bundy to a Frenchman. Oh, good lord, I should slap you for that.
French-Canadian. All right.
Whatever.
The Bushwhackers win with a battering ram to Jacques. Uncle Dave called this, quote, a terrible comedy match, and he gave it 1/4 of a star. I gave it 1.5 stars for effort. What say you?
Terrible comedy. That was supposedly good wrestling comedies.
I've seen some comedy matches that I didn't completely hate. This one, just garbage. But
yeah, I gave it 1 star. I did say Jesse crying about the faces getting away with stuff, like no tags, was pretty funny.
What was with them pairing these two teams up, by the way?
I don't know.
Like, the Rougeaus weren't great.
Well, because we all know about the famous Montreal-New Zealand feud. You know, so.
Oh, well, yeah. But my thing was, like, the Rougeaus were not a bad team. They've had some pretty good matches, but this just... What was the match we reviewed where the Bushwhackers had Jameson with them?
That was SummerSlam 80 or 90. 90, one of the SummerSlams.
Yeah.
91, I think.
Jacques Rougeau, man, just like, he was getting manatees, or movies, or whatever you want to call them. I was like, had you not worked out in a while? No wonder they put you in a Mountie suit. But Mean Gene Okerlund is backstage with Ted DiBiase and Virgil. Okerlund insists that last year DiBiase illegally got the number 30 spot. We then find out that
he bought it from Slick.
Oh, okay, I was going to say, I hadn't seen Royal Rumble 89, so I wasn't up on the what happened.
My first note on this was I love the continuity.
Yeah, it's cool how they always brought that back. We then find out that DiBiase drew number 1 this year. I will say, I always thought that DiBiase was just like, when you talk about like the big players of like the golden era, like he's obviously in the mix, whatever, but he was so freaking good, man. And he was always on top with Hogan. Or, you know, usually Hogan, but like...
Well, and it helps when you have Virgil in your corner, though, too.
No, well, yeah, he was bringing the F money. And then when you get to the back, he'd, you know, serve up some meat sauce.
If you were lucky.
Yeah. Back in the ring, the Genius reads a poem about Brutus the F'n Barber Beefcake, which is his Christian name. But anyway, we get the Genius versus Brutus the Barber Beefcake up next. It goes for just over 11 minutes. 10 minutes too long. The referee gets bumped, and Beefcake knocks out the Genius with a sleeper hold before grabbing his shears and cutting the Genius's mullet. Mr. Perfect finally runs down and beats up Beefcake and hits a perfect plex just as the ref wakes up and calls for a double disqualification. Uncle Dave said that the crowd was into it, but it was pretty terrible. Apparently the fans were so irate with the heels that they were trying to jump the railing. He gave it 1 star. I give it 1.5. What say you?
I gave it 2. I don't think it was that bad.
I don't think it was garbage. I've never hated Brutus. I mean, I know the way I just talked about him. But...
I don't know. I don't get the hate from everybody either. And was he bad? I don't think he was ever bad.
Yeah, I mean,
I do think he was always just Hulk's friend.
Yeah, people always act resentful because, like, well, Hulk kept getting him good spots and good jobs. It's like, wouldn't you? I mean, if your best friend was the guy, wouldn't you ride that into the ground? It's like, oh, screw him for trying to feed himself. Gosh. Bastard.
I mean, dude, he got to headline Starrcade. That makes you an instant, like, legend.
He was, like, in a big match at, was it WrestleMania where he teamed with Hulk? Or, no, SummerSlam, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right before this, actually.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I have a jack figure of him.
Legend has it, apparently, that when he cut Papa's hair, No one knew it was going to happen, and Randy snapped on him in the back.
Yeah, I heard. That was another one. Apparently, I'm going to assume that Savage didn't have the pull that Hogan did, because Laney was jobless there a few times. So, but...
And when he wasn't jobless, he was the genius.
Yeah, so I mean, if... I will say I think he lasted longer than he would have it, not being Savage's brother. So... But yeah, I thought Poffo was a decent wrestler. He wasn't great, but he wasn't bad, I don't think. I said after the match, the Genius holds Brutus as Mr. Perfect beats him with a chair. It's the, I said it's the attack of the clone referees as they come down to break it up. They all look the same. They had the same black hair, same haircut.
Stupid bow ties.
Yeah, the bow ties. The only way you could tell them apart was some were shorter than others. That was it.
Some had more wrinkles.
Yeah. But they break it up, and they send Mr. Perfect and the Genius to the back. I didn't realize, by the way, that, Damien Sandow just, damn near wholesale ripped off the Genius with a lot of his stuff.
Yep.
Down to the cartwheel, just everything.
One of my notes, too, was Genius shaking with his left hand. Why was that so funny?
Oh, I don't know.
It was even funnier when Shivani acknowledged it, too. It was like, why the hell is he shaking with his left hand?
Oh, my gosh. There was something one time in an indie fed where some guy, put their left hand out to shake for some reason. The other guy was like, left hands are for lovers!
Wow.
I don't know why it made me laugh so bad, but Sean Mooney's backstage with Bobby Heenan, Rick Rude, and Andre the Giant. Oh, and Haku. It was easy to miss Haku because he was standing in the back, behind everybody.
Which is funny too, because he's not a small man.
No, he's not. The heels will not reveal their numbers for the Rumble, and Mooney stirs the pot by asking what they're going to do if it all comes down to the Heenan family members in the match. And they walk away arguing. We get a quick commercial for WrestleMania VI coming to the Toronto Sky Dome.
Man, it took me back.
This is cool. They didn't even have to, advertise anything. They're just like, hey, WrestleMania, Sky Dome, gonna happen. And boom, sellout.
Yeah, it just, the dramatic music, just, everything. That was actually the first WrestleMania I ever really watched on pay-per-view, so.
Oh, wow.
That'll always be one of my favorites for that reason.
I guess at this point, it was almost obvious what the main event was going to be, right?
I mean, once the Rumble match itself happens, yeah.
Yeah, because I just love how Uncle Dave Meltzer's writing here. He's like, well, it's probably going to be the Warrior versus Hogan. And I guess he was physically in attendance for this Rumble. And he said, oh, you can hear all the kids, arguing in the crowd over who would win between Warrior and Hogan. And then, of course, he has to sit there and he's like, oh, it's not going to be good, so I don't know why you want to see it. It's like, because they're effing kids, and they're superheroes, basically.
Well, his newsletter is not good. I don't want people want to pay for it, so there's that.
I teed you up for that one. All right, we get this next
Nailed
one.
it.
I have a feeling you and I are going to have drastically different opinions on this one, but we'll see. It's Greg the Hammer Valentine versus Rugged Ronnie Garvin in a submission match. The only way to win is via submission. It went just shy of 17 minutes. I said these two beat the absolute piss out of each other. Garvin has a big brace on his leg that they called the Hammer Jammer. Which...
I just got this figure, by the way.
Did they, wait, Ronnie Garvin?
No, it's Hammer.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say I didn't think they made a Ronnie Garvin. But yeah, I have a Jax figure of him.
Of course you do. I didn't even know they made that.
Yeah, but apparently this Hammer Jammer brace that he has on his leg makes it so the figure 4 doesn't hurt because reasons. Jimmy Jimmy Hart manages to take the hammer jammer off of Garvin's leg while he's knocked down. So Valentine is able to get a figure four locked in the center of the ring, but that doesn't do it. Garvin eventually takes off Valentine's shin brace, which he calls the Heartbreaker, because it can't just be a brace. And he ties Valentine in the ropes, pulls Jimmy Hart into the ring, and then after, Valentine comes after Garvin, but Garvin blasts him in the face with a Heartbreaker, locks in the sharpshooter, which Tony Schiavone called a reverse figure four. And
he wanted to call it the Scorpion Deathlock.
He probably did, yeah. And Valentine finally gives up. What is it with Canadians? Gotta do the sharpshooter.
I don't know, but I'm starting to wonder if it was made in Canada.
Right. Uncle Dave said he thinks this should have been called a sudden death match because as soon as the match started, the crowd died. That's effed up. He gave it 2 stars. I actually gave it 3 stars. I enjoyed this. What say you?
I gave it 3 too. I loved it.
Well, okay, so we do have similar opinions. This was my favorite match of the night besides the Rumble. So
yeah, I just, it was never boring at all. They just, like you said, they beat the crap out of each other.
Yeah, I've always liked Greg Valentine.
I do remember watching this when I was a kid, wondering what the hell a submission was.
Well, they kept going back and forth between calling it a submission match and Jesse calling it an I Quit match.
Yeah. The way it ends, too. Like, well, Valentine was shaking his head no, and I like how Schiavone's like, well, maybe he meant he couldn't take no more.
Right. And he's like,
I don't know why that made me laugh so hard.
I like when he's arguing about it, and he's like, oh, he didn't submit. He's like, oh, well, the referee was right there. Well, that doesn't mean anything. He's like, so are you calling the ref a liar? Well, maybe I am. Good grief.
That hammer jammer, by the way, it gave me a flashback to when Roddy Piper wore it would look like just a regular vest when the Mountie shocked him, and it just said shockproof, and all of a sudden that makes him, not able to be shocked.
Oh, well then.
I was like, well, that's the hammer jammer, essentially. You're wearing this, therefore it doesn't hurt.
Yeah, well, hey, Goldberg should have borrowed that.
Yeah, right?
Good lord. This, like I said, the match was cool. It was really good. I mean, I didn't really listen to what the crowd did, but, I don't know.
One of my notes about the whole show, too, is like how much you can hear the crowd, like especially like the kids and stuff. Just reminds me what modern day internet's done to wrestling. It's completely ruined it. People just overthink the whole thing now.
I don't disagree there. I've told people before, I said, crowds nowadays want to be more of a part of the show rather than spectators, and they're not watching a show. They want to get their little chants over and everything else, and they want to get their catcalling heard on TV, and it's just effing stupid.
And now they hold everybody to such a high standard, too, as if they can do any better, by the way. Like,
yeah.
You can't like Roman Reigns, because he doesn't wrestle as good as Kurt Angle. Like, oh, well, okay, sorry.
Oh, excuse the F out of me.
Yeah, that's like the mentality, though. And it was not like that back then, and I love the guy, but Hogan was never the best, okay? So
Goldberg was massively over. Goldberg was massively over, and he was just slightly above suck. So, I mean, he was entertaining.
Now these idiot marks, because the internet lets them be loud, they never shut the hell up.
Well, welcome to 2021, Greg. That's why, for all the things I can say about, it's like, man, it sucks nobody's allowed at shows anymore, right now during the pandemic, and they're having to call audibles with the Thunderdome and everything. The 2 things I can say about it: 1, it looks really cool, and 2, you're not getting the cat calling and the stupid chants and crap like that all show.
The dumbass signs.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, I enjoyed some of the signs, but yeah, some of them it's like, really? Like, why? You wasted your time making this, and then you brought it to TV because you thought it would be, a smart move. But we go to the fact, now that we're done complaining, getting off our soapbox here, Mean Gene Okerlund is backstage with Mr. Perfect. They show replays of Mr. Perfect's attack on Brutus Beefcake earlier in the night.
Wait, on who?
Brutus the F'n Barber Beefcake.
Cool. I thought my hearing went out. So.
Yeah, we gotta get his full Christian name in there. It says that on his driver's license, Greg.
He literally signs autographs like that. Too.
He effing better. But
he does. Oh, Conrad said he does now.
I know. Well, that's why I said he better. Conrad actually got him like somewhat famous in this year for something that isn't bad. I mean, I realize he's mocking him, but up until now, the last couple of years, the only thing he was known for was forging Hulk Hogan's signature on things.
All right.
All right. Mean Gene asks, what number Mr. Perfect drew in the Royal Rumble? Perfect says that he drew the perfect number, which is number 30. So, I mean,
I don't know about you, but I mean, I don't know what my thinking was when I was a kid, but I hated that they gave away what numbers 1 and 30 were. Kind of takes away from some stars.
The number 1 thing, I mean, they usually give that away because it's usually this was
like the first time they did, and I can't think of any other time unless they had a thing on Raw for it. So they didn't usually do it ever. So. Oh
no, I'm talking about like today, today's stuff. Like.
Oh yeah, because they make it a thing.
But, yeah. No, back then, yeah, it was not a. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I was a little disappointed too because it takes part of the fun of the Rumble is like the surprise element, and there were a few.
Now, had they just said flat out, "Hey, DiBiase's number 1 because he bought number 30 last year," that would have made some sense.
Right? Yeah, but this one, it's like just bad luck of the draw, man.
Which I'm sorry, I don't buy. I mean, I know it's entirely possible, but no.
Yeah, dumb luck, man. Back to the arena where we get the Brother Love show, where Bruce Pritchard starts off the segment by deep-throating his microphone. He then introduces sensational Queen Sherry, coming out looking only like she can look, wearing a sparkling gold dress. They talk about Sapphire's weight and her looks, and they call her a peasant, before calling out Sweet Sapphire, who comes out dancing, doing the one dance move she knows how to do. I will say...
even Jesse Ventura on commentary gets into the weight thing.
Yeah, I know. This is messed up. And she wasn't even, like, a large woman. I mean, she might have had, like, a few extra pounds on her, but it's like, she wasn't what I would have called fat. I don't know. And I know it's like, that was just a thing. They were like, well, we gotta pick at her for something. She's a lowly peasant. But, I don't know. I did laugh at Tony Schiavone when Ventura was like, well, which one of these women would you want to go out on a date with? And he was like, well, I don't, and talk about Sherry. He's like, I don't like women with painted pineapples above their eyes.
Like how Jesse's like, you gotta think about it.
Right. But Sherry and Brother Love talk trash to Sapphire, not letting her speak at all. And they repeatedly mock her weight until Sapphire finally hauls off and smacks Sherry. The Macho King runs down. He grabs Sapphire before Dusty Rhodes comes out for the save, but he gets jumped by Macho. Sapphire jumps not on Macho Man's back. This allows Dusty to make a comeback. Macho and Sherry eventually take a powder, while Brother Love stands in the ring like an idiot and mocks Dusty and Sapphire. Because nothing ever bad happens to him, when he does crap like this. Dusty beats up... Why do you say
it sarcastically?
I know. Dusty comes in, beats up Brother Love, and Sapphire slaps him. Dusty dumps Brother Love out of the ring. By the way, did you notice frickin' that spill that Brother Love took out of the ring? I was like, holy crap, he launched his ass. But then Dusty and Sapphire dance while his theme song plays. And Jesse complains the whole time about it. He's like, don't we have a video package or something in the back we can throw it to? Like, good lord.
Oh, Dusty must dance.
Hogan must pose. Dusty must shake that ass.
They had to at least thought about Hogan and Dusty at WrestleMania, right?
I'm going to say no, because it seemed like Vince didn't seem much of a value in Dusty as a main eventer at this point. But I feel like that was money left on the table. Like, how could you not draw a house with that? I don't know. And Dusty was a big deal back in the old WWF before Vinny Jr. there took over. So, I don't know. Sean Mooney's backstage with Hacksaw Jim Duggan, asking Duggan about his upcoming match against the Big Boss Man. I said, Duggan seems like his biggest opponent of the night is the English language.
God, man. That was one of my first notes. I'm like, I'm just real. Maybe it took me this long to realize, but every one of his promos is incoherent. And it always ends with him going, yeah, USA. I'm like, Boss Man's American, right? So.
He's not American, Greg. He's from Georgia.
Does it get any more American than that?
I don't know. Are we going to point out that he had a rebel flag on his
No,
outfit?
we're not.
Okay. Just going to breeze by that. All right. Yeah, I don't know, man. This was... Because he must have a word. He's like, dot, dot, dot. Like, what are you doing, dude?
That was like the first 2 seconds. Just Boss Man.
Right. This was like, God dang it, dude. But I have Jack's figure of him, by the way.
Of course you do.
We get the Big Boss Man with Slick versus Hacksaw Jim Duggan in 6 minutes and 13 seconds. Obviously, Hacksaw didn't have a theme by this point. I always remember him coming out to...
It's literally about to be there very soon.
Okay.
I think by the next pay-per-view. Or after WrestleMania, sorry.
But didn't Boss Man have a theme? Because here he's coming out to Slick's theme.
That was his theme. He turns face in like a couple weeks.
So he gets his own theme when he turns babyface?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That's about to happen in like a couple of weeks.
That makes sense, because when I hear his old theme, I cannot picture a heel coming out to that.
One thing I forgot to mention, too, like all the changes.
Yeah.
Poor Greg Valentine's about to be in Rhythm and Blues very soon. Like, maybe the next taping. And then Boss Man's about to turn face.
Yeah, Valentine is about to join Rhythm and Blues and want to kill himself.
Mounty's about to be there.
Like I said, man, no wonder
she's about to be completely changed.
I can just see them walking up to Jacques Rougeau with like a Mountie outfit in one hand, like clippers in the other hand. It's like, shave your face and put this on to cover up your body. But yeah, so, by the way, apparently because of the taping schedule and everything, Boss Man had already turned face on a previous taping. It just hasn't aired yet. So here he's a heel. The end of the match was
Did he have any interaction in this pay-per-view with Akeem?
No, because he wasn't.
Yes.
He wasn't in the Rumble, was he, Boss Man? I don't think so.
No, I don't think. No one did double duty until Roddy Piper in '92.
Okay.
Pretty sure he's the first one ever to do it.
Makes sense. But the ending of the match was a complete mess. Slick is on the apron. Hacksaw throws Big Boss Man into him, knocking him down. But then he, forgot that he was supposed to give Boss Man his nightstick, so he no-sells the bump, stands right up, and hands it to him. And Boss Man... and then he jumps up and tries to distract the referee, and Boss Man blasts Duggan with the nightstick and gets disqualified. Oh, my God. Uncle Dave said that he's pretty sure that cruel and unusual punishment is outlawed by the Supreme Court, but watching Jim Duggan try to wrestle for 10 minutes falls into that territory.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Just can't wait to see a Dave Meltzer match for 10 minutes then. He can show us how it's done, huh?
Right. He said, however, he's really impressed by the Boss Man's weight loss for his upcoming babyface run, as he's down to about 270 or so, and legit weighs less than Duggan at this point. Wait till he sees him back in the Attitude Era. That was some weight loss. Uncle Dave gave this -2 1/4 stars. Yikes. I gave it 1 star. What say you?
I gave it 1. One of my favorite parts about the whole match was when Ventura was like, well, why does he get to carry that 2x4 out? Tony Schiavone's like, well, that's his sidekick. That's, And then Jesse comes back with, well, when have you not seen a policeman without a baton or nightstick.
Yeah.
And it was like, wow, he's totally right. He's really got him there.
Right.
Like, matter of fact, I might argue it makes more sense for him to have that than Duggan to have the 2x4.
It does. I never understood what the 2x4 had to do with anything, but
Because there's nothing more American than a 2x4. Idiot.
yeah. Well, if there's one thing we can always say about Jim Duggan, he always had wood.
Good God.
Come on. But anyway, yeah, Meltzer was in full-on burial mode with this match, man. Like, that was some rough stuff.
Well, it would have been like 3 or 4 stars in the Tokyo Dome, right?
Right. Duggan grabs his 2x4 after the match. He blasts Boss Man in the back, knocking him out of the ring. He then throws Slick out of the ring. He waves the American flag around, getting the crowd to join in with a USA chant. There you go.
Yeah, get that stupid Georgian out of here.
Yeah, right. We get another quick commercial for WrestleMania VI before we go to the quick promos from Royal Rumble participants. We get Earthquake.
I missed these, by the way.
Yeah, these were cool, too. Another aspect of the Royal Rumble that kind of went by the wayside. But we get Earthquake and Dino Bravo and Jimmy Hart first. Was he officially just the Earthquake at this point?
Yeah, though that Canadian flag's coming off like very quickly.
Okay, yeah, because he's just wearing a generic singlet with a Canadian flag on the front, like he was made in Create a Wrestler. And
I think Survivor Series 89, they edit out Canadian.
Yeah, okay, I was wondering which event it was. And Jesse Ventura during this match at one point calls him the Canadian Earthquake. That's why I was like, is he still? I don't know. But we then go to Demolition. Next, we get an odd promo from Bad News Brown and his teeth that could cut keys. Dusty Rhodes uses his promo time to talk about the Macho King, Randy Savage. The Rockers are up next, wearing outfits that they should be embarrassed of. Hercules is next with a generic heel promo. The model Rick Martel and his epic mullet tells us how beautiful he is. And then we get And then Tito Santana and his epic mullet shouts at us before Jimmy Snuka screams at us about fighting people back, quote, on the islands. I feel like he had like he had like a 15-second promo with 5 seconds of stuff to say. Because the first 5 seconds was him going, hoo, hoo. And then that was also the last 5 seconds. So, yeah. I don't know. But anyway. Slick and Akeem are up next. Akeem is just constantly gyrating and moving around as Slick speaks.
Yeah, dude, I'm like, dude, do you ever just like stand still for like 1 second?
Given his size, I would say he doesn't move around enough, but regardless. Sorry, I apologize. Lord, I apologize. The Ultimate Warrior with his yellow-strapped Intercontinental title cuts a promo, I guess, but I couldn't understand a single damn word he said until he said something about Hulk Hogan having a force field around him. I understood that. When these were all over, I felt like I just came down off a weird acid trip. This was back-to-back stuff, man. And then we get a couple more here. They break it up with commentary, and then we go to Macho King, Randy Savage, cutting his promo about how great he is, and about Dusty Rhodes. Mr. Fuji and the Discount Road Warriors, known as the Powers of Pain, are up next, and Mr. Fuji cuts his normal promo where he's like the little evil Japanese guy, I guess. Jake Roberts tries to get psychological about the Royal Rumble match. I always loved Jake. And the Hart Foundation are up next, and Jim Neidhart acts like he's taken all the cocaine. Bret Hart has to tell him to mellow out. I was like, what the hell is going on with Jim Neidhart?
He's taken all the cocaine.
Yeah.
Oh,
you remember that scene in Birds of Prey where the cocaine explodes and like Harley Quinn like sniffs up some of it and she's like, and she beats everybody up?
Yes.
This was it, man. But Jimmy Hart and Honky Tonk Man are next, talking about music, as if anybody cares. And then finally, you get the main event here. It's Hulk Hogan bringing us home with his loud, shouty promo about the power of Hulkamania. And then he poses and flexes and has the cocaine sweats. I'm sorry. Second cocaine reference of the podcast. These promos were great, but I always laugh at them. Like, it was like good and funny all at the same time. I miss it.
Clearly.
Yeah. But alright. We're gonna take our second to last break here. When we come back, it's a Royal Rumble match right after this.
Follow the Main Event Marks at facebook.com/Main Event Marks Pod, on Twitter at Main Event _Marks, and on Instagram at Main Event _Marks and at Main Event Collector. The Main Event Marks are available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. Now back to the show.
Main event time, everybody. It's a 30-man over-the-top Royal Rumble match. It went for 58 minutes, 46 seconds. Ted DiBiase and Coco Beware start us out at number 1 and number 2, respectively. DiBiase tosses Coco before the number 3, Marty Jannetty, comes in. He tosses Jannetty before number 4, Jake the Snake, comes in. Number 5 is the Macho King in the weirdest outfit I've ever seen him wear, which is saying something. The heels double team Jake before number 6, Roddy Piper, comes out for a surprise. And the crowd just blows their crap for him. I guess Piper... When was the last time we saw Piper?
He returned at WrestleMania 5, so... Like, what do you mean, here, or what?
Was he consistently wrestling in the company at this point, or was he making...
Yeah, he returned at WrestleMania 5, yeah.
Oh, okay. I forgot about that, yeah, okay. The Warlord comes out number 7, number 8's Bret Hart, Bad News Brown number 9, Macho King eliminates Jake Roberts with a clothesline, number 10's Dusty Rhodes.
In 2 years, that feud's going to be reversed.
Wait, what?
Roberts, Macho Man, like in 2 years, it's going to be completely reversed.
Oh, right, yeah. Number 10 is Dusty Rhodes, who comes out and just elbow craps, dang it.
What the hell?
Oops. Who comes out and elbows the crap out of Macho King over and over before back body dropping him out of the ring for the elimination. Andre the Giant's number 11. He eliminates the Warlord with one arm as Heenan and Fuji get into a spat outside the ring.
So what happened to the Warlord with 2 arms?
Shut up. Number 12, by the way, is your favorite and mine, the man who has a special place in all of our hearts, the Red Rooster.
Did you notice, by the way, the crowd did not care at all for him? I feel like he was the only person that got 0 reaction.
You could have heard a mouse pissing on cotton.
Bad News Brown's giving him room for his money on that, but I still think he might have got a couple boos.
I didn't understand how Bad News Brown had a job at this point. Not that he was bad in the ring or anything. It's just like you said, nobody gave a damn. But yeah, it was Uncle Dave's number 1 nephew right here, the Red Rooster. Roddy Piper eliminates Bad News Brown, and then Bad News pulls Piper out of the ring by his hair, eliminating him. They brawl to the back, so that's setting up for their epically racist feud coming up. That was good stuff.
See how that flies in 2020.
Right, yeah. Hey, does somebody want to paint themselves black and do the promos of a black guy for their feud in 2020? I'm going to say no. Demolition Axe is lucky number 13 as Andre eliminates the Red Rooster. Oh no, he was my pick. Number 14 is Haku, who looks like he's wearing women's leggings from Target. Number 15 is Demolition Smash. Hakeem the African Dream is 16. Demolition teams up to eliminate Andre the Giant. Bret Hart got eliminated next. Bret Hart got eliminated while Andre was being eliminated, so I didn't even notice. Jesse Ventura had to inform me. Number 17 is Superfly Jimmy Snuka. He eliminates Hakeem. 18 is Dino Bravo. Earthquake's number 19. Earthquake eliminates Dusty Rhodes and Axe. Jim the Anvil Neidhart's 20. Everyone teams up to eliminate Earthquake. The crowd explodes for number 21 as it's the Ultimate Warrior. He eliminates Dino Bravo. The model Rick Martel is number 22. Smash gets tossed by Haku. Number 23 is Tito Santana, who goes right for Rick Martel. Were they still feuding at this point, or was this just kind of like...
Dude, they feuded for like 2.5 years.
Nice. Well, if it ain't broke. Honky Tonk Man enters number 24. He's my new pick. And the heels team up on the Warrior.
Was he eating broccoli?
We're gonna leave that right. We're gonna leave that right with that, Daddy. Somebody else. Jim Neidhart gets eliminated. The Warrior eliminates Ted DiBiase next. He's finally out. Hulk Hogan's number 25. Crowd explodes for him. Hogan tosses Jimmy Snuka, then Haku. Both the Island Boys are out. The Warrior eliminates Tito Santana. Number 26 to the match is Shawn Michaels. Hogan eliminates Honky Tonk Man, I feel, as Shawn Michaels is coming into the ring. Don't blink because the Warrior tosses Michaels right away, and then Rick Martel. Warrior and Hogan then stare each other down and repeatedly shove and shoulder block each other. And they both do a double down when number 27, the Barbarian, enters. This
soon to be headlining a WCW event for a world title, by the way.
The Barbarian?
Mm-hmm.
What event was that?
I think it was a Halloween Havoc against Ron Simmons.
Holy crap. I didn't know that was a thing. And why?
Hell if I know.
What?
I want to say it was 92, I think.
Oh my gosh. That's like, what the F? Him and Brutus the F'n Barber Beefcake headline WCW shows for world titles.
For reasons.
Yeah. Wow. But yeah, I like how they gave us enough of a taste.
My point is, though, there were quite a few main eventers in here at this point. So.
Yeah. Yeah. I like how they gave us just a little taste of Hogan Warrior, by the way, without just giving us everything. Just a little bit to get us excited, but they didn't give away the farm. Rick Rude's 28. Rude and Barbarian try to eliminate the Ultimate Warrior, but Hogan hits him in the back and Warrior gets dumped out. Warrior then runs in, beats up all the heels, and then he runs away. I was like, what did I just watch? Number 29 in the Rumble is Hercules. Hercules! The number 30 entrant is obviously Mr. Perfect. Hercules dumps out the Barbarian. Rick Rude eliminates Hercules. Hogan throws Rude into the ropes as Mr. Perfect accidentally pulls him down to eliminate Rude. Then Hogan finally chucks out Mr. Perfect and wins the whole match as the crowd goes crazy. And now you know what time it is, Greg. Hogan must pose, pal. Uncle Dave and I both gave this 3 stars. I thought it was a fairly fun Rumble. What say you?
I said 3 as well. I loved it.
Yeah, and this was obviously before the days of the winner gets a world title shot. But yeah, so.
That's still about 3 years off.
Really? I thought, well, yeah, because 92 was the first one that was for the world title.
Yeah.
And so 93 was the first then?
Mm-hmm.
Man. Didn't you say Hogan won 2 years? This was his repeat win?
This was his first of 2.
So he wins the next year. Okay. Mm-hmm. Who won it in 89?
Big John Studd.
Oh, yeah. That's right, because the first 2 winners were because in 88 we get Jim Duggan, 89 we get Big John Studd. And it's hell of a way to bring it up with Hogan 2 years in a row after that. And then Ric Flair.
I don't think anyone ever would have called that.
Yeah, who do you think is going to win, one of the biggest matches in the WWF? Well, Ric Flair. The NWA fans would have murdered you if you would have said that back then. But here we are. But yeah, so that's the show. I think we should take our final break. When we come back, let's dive into the final ratings.
Follow the Main Event Marks at Facebook.com/Main Event Marks Pod, on Twitter at Main Event _Marks, and on Instagram at Main Event _Marks and at Main Event Collector. The Main Event Marks are available wherever you get podcasts and on YouTube. Now back to the show.
All right, final ratings time for the show. IMDb gave this 7.2 out of 10. CageMatch.net gave it 5.71 out of 10. I'm right in between. I gave it a 6.5 out of 10. What say you?
I gave it a B+. I liked it.
Yeah. And there's something to be said, especially, with you growing up on it, there's something to be said for the nostalgia factor as well.
Yeah, definitely.
So, I like going back and looking at this stuff just, from a historical point of view. I gave it a 6.5 just because I'm looking over the whole show. The Rumble match was, I thought, really good. The submission match I thought was really good. And just the rest of the card was just kind of there for me. So wasn't anything that I was really caring about. Yeah, so it had 2 really good matches on the card, I thought. If you got to go back and watch one thing on the show, obviously the Rumble match.
Go out of your way to watch it.
Yeah. I would point you to the Rumble match, but also, yeah, definitely go check out that Greg Valentine versus Ron Garvin match. I thought it was pretty damn good. There was a lot of historical stuff on the show, around the show, all that. So going back to the golden era is nice sometimes. I enjoy it. Well, what's not nice, Greg, is what we got coming up next week. I hope you all stick around and tune in because, we have fun with the good shows and the bad shows. And I've never seen this, but because of where it falls on a timeline, I'm going to say it's probably not good. January 13th, we're covering WCW Sold Out 2000.
This is a real event.
I've, like I said, never seen it. I'm not going to say I'm looking forward to watching it. But I'm anxious to see what the hell was going on in January of this was January, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's not a Russo event. I think he's gone before he comes back.
Oh, no. Yeah, because this was before the big reboot, I believe. Yeah, because that was, April?
He went from October to December, I believe, and then from April to September.
Wow. This was... I don't get that he was there for I don't know how long he was in the WWF. It was quite a while. And then he goes to WCW and he's there literally 2 months before he has to go home and cry, bro. 2 months before he damn near has a nervous breakdown. And I'm not making fun of people that, have nervous breakdowns, but it's just if you listen to anybody who had to work with him, they were like, man, he was the most sensitive MFer. You look at him.
The New Yorkers were tough.
You would think. Maybe that's why he moved to Indiana. But he had to, and if you ever disagreed with him or you looked at him cross-eyed, he'd have to go home and cry. He would talk to the boss. And it's just I
cried, dude, bro.
It's nut up, man. Bro, when Bischoff told me I sucked, I cried, bro.
Lord.
Yeah, this is WCW Sold Out 2000. We are a few months just before we go to the big reboot where Vince Russo and Eric Bischoff try to run the company together. And
running into the ground.
Yeah. My favorite thing, and I'm saying this sarcastically, my favorite thing from that reboot was when Eric Bischoff tells Sid to surrender the title and he won't do it. He's like, what's the matter, Sid? You don't have your scissors?
Yeah.
And nobody cared at all. And then he had to repeat the line because I don't know if he was like, well, nobody reacted. Maybe I should repeat it because they didn't hear it. No, we heard it. We just didn't care.
We just didn't want it.
Yeah. It's leave that right with that, baby. But
I'll laugh somebody else.
We are going back to the Royal Rumbles and sticking around in the year 2000 because while on the 13th next week, we're covering Sold Out 2000, which was the January effort of that year from WCW. We got the January effort from the WWF the next week. Because on January 20th, we're covering Royal Rumble 2000, which I can't imagine was any better than Sold Out. No? Nothing?
No.
Come on. But anyway, alright. But that's it. We've also got some ECW coming up this month and some more golden era WWF classic stuff for our bonus show. Thank you for joining me today, Greg.
Mm-hmm.
and we will come at you all next week with WCW from the year 2000. We apologize in advance.